What's up guys, Nate Petrosky from Narrowway Homestead coming at you and making another video. Today we're talking about Will Survives. As you know, he came out here a little over 3 months ago by now. He lived out west, built some off-grid bushcraft stuff, and now he's here on the eastern side of the United States, and he's changed up his content and he's made some different life plans and he's built some stuff, and I'm just going to talk about it from my perspective. He made it through summer, which is one of the more difficult seasons here, at least for some people, particularly if you're not used to humidity. But now winter's coming, and honestly, winter looks a lot like this. And as you can see, I've got my ditches and one of my dirt roads here. A lot of this mush has washed down through, so I'm clearing it out. He's about to learn all about slippery clay mud. Cool thing is, the bugs are gone, or going to be gone soon. But yeah, now it's wetness, and even though it doesn't get nearly as cold here, it's going to be wet. I love how independent he is. He pretty much does whatever it is he needs to do to survive. He asks me a bunch of stuff and anything I can do to help him out. And oftentimes I give answers that the internet's not real wild about. I think probably part of the reason he hasn't insulated his house is because I told him, he asked me, should I? And I'm like, it wouldn't hurt anything, but I don't think it's necessary. And the biggest thing was, as small as his space is, he can insulate that thing in a day. So if he wakes up one morning, it was a tough night, he was cold, he was tired of having to put wood in the wood stove. The next day he can stay warm by rapidly working to insulate the walls in his tiny little place. And then that night he'll be warm. The biggest thing with winter here is the dampness. It's not so much having a warm place to go, but rather a dry place to go when you've been outside in the elements. The other thing too is most people that watch content like this, most of you guys spend your entire life inside. You're out for a few hours a day. Well, when this type of lifestyle, you're out many hours during the day. So it doesn't matter how warm and insulated your house is if you're out of it for like 12 hours during the day. Like, who cares whether it was really warm during the day or not? The important thing is when you do decide to go in there to dry off, you can dry off. You know, warming up is a thing too, and well, it doesn't get that cold here. Personally, when I'm the coldest here is when it's between 30 and 40 degrees. It's damp like this. As soon as we drop down to like 20 or something, it's just not, it doesn't feel that cold. Even though it's colder, it's just because the humidity isn't in the air transferring all the heat out of your body and making you just like get really cold skin instantly. There's no better feeling than warming up by a wood stove, and whether he's insulated or not, actually if his house is not insulated, he'll burn more wood and drive out more moisture, and he'll probably end up with a drier house than if he insulates it, and then the wood stove cooks it so much that he has to open up all the windows and doors and try to get some of that heat out because it's too hot to be there, and then you introduce moisture back into the air inside your house. So there's a couple reasons why I told him it's not a bad idea to wait to insulate, and the consequences of not insulating are not that high because you can just insulate it anytime you feel like it. Anyway, I'm curious what his experience will be like about that. Now, a bunch of you guys are all over my comments about that, but not only that, just him not making videos, him switching up his content, him doing different stuff. He's talked about doing a documentary and sending footage off to a guy to, he's recording his life 24/7 essentially. Well, maybe not at night, but a lot. And he's sending it off to someone else and doing content differently. And he's gonna kind of keep doing shorts and maybe long videos occasionally to update you guys. And you guys are all freaking out about his mental health. I'm not in his head, however, I have talked with him, I observe what he does and listen to what he says, and I think he's in a better place. Yeah, he couldn't be in a better place right now. He's motivated, he's wanting to get stuff done, he's wanting to level up in life, and that's really what he's been about throughout most of his videos. You know, he's just leveling up in life the best he knows how, and now he's kind of found, you know, there's paperwork things, and maybe he's even seen my life and seen how much goes on behind the scenes with just trying to keep everything legal and all the paperwork taken care of, and anything from vehicle inspections to, you know, sales tax reports, all that stuff exists. And he's wanting to get into some retail stuff. He's got pants he's been working on designing, and actually bringing stuff to market is an insane process that if you haven't done it, you probably don't really understand what it's like. But I think he looked at his life and saw there's a need for him to just step up in a bunch of these areas besides just building stuff and building shelters for the winter. I mean, he's done that a couple times now and been rather successful at it. But yeah, there's other things. So I think he's just leveling up in life. He's motivated. He's ready to do whatever it takes to build his character, challenge himself. And I think it's all a good thing. I'm not worried about him one bit. Basically, I'm proud of what he's trying to accomplish and his energy he's putting into it. Yeah, and he's gonna, I see a lot of people, especially social media influencers, like make content and do all this stuff, and you just drive and chase after the content and you forget all about the paperwork side of it behind you. And you have to keep up on that. It's so important to keep everything legal and above board because you're in the limelight like crazy, and it's just awesome to see him really take initiative and make sure that everything's gonna be legit. Really, if I had to say what the most difficult part of my lifestyle is, it's not walking around recording videos in the rain, it's not doing animal chores in the rain, it's not getting cold, it's not trees falling across my driveway. It's the paperwork nonsense that goes along with keeping everything legit with the whole social media thing and business running and all that. That's the most difficult part of the life. But you know, it's part of being an adult. Unfortunately, you have to do this stuff. And as much as I wish it just wasn't a reality, for example, I was even wanting to, with those Minion plushies that were handled by Minion, I kind of wanted to throw something cool in the packages and just ship them off, and just somebody could open it up and they'd get something really cool. Well, that could be considered operating a lottery. And since I'm not legally allowed to operate a lottery in the state of West Virginia, I'm not about to get in trouble for operating an illegal lottery. In my mind, I'm just thinking, let's do something fun for the people that bought a fairly expensive item in my store and just make it fun. And, you know, I'd have to throw the same thing in every one now, which means, you know, I can't put something super valuable in just a couple. I just can't. And thanks to the user who sent me an email about that, I've gone through several different ideas before, and I realized they could be considered a lottery and decided not to. This one just eluded my mind for whatever reason, and it was brought back to my attention. I'm like, oh yeah, I could see how that falls in a lottery thing too. So there's so much of this fun stuff that you just have to think about. And I think Will's really trying to level up and make sure that he's thinking about everything that needs to be done, make sure taxes are all good, make sure everything he's doing with his products is going forward. And a lot of times, I spend a bunch of time on the phone. That happens to me too. A lot of phone calls, a lot of paperwork, a lot of time lost in that. And he's committing himself to, you know, doing that stuff in addition to building everything he needs to build, and just keep himself on top of it. And I think the recording himself makes him feel a lot more accountable. It's kind of an accountability thing to himself, if you will. Just making sure he's doing what it is he wants to do and level up in life. So we talk a bunch. We talked for, I don't know, maybe 2 hours one day, just on his big idea or whatever, and he ran it by me, and I told him, you know, go for it. Like, if you see a vision in your head and you've got the ambition and drive to execute it, like, definitely run it by some people, but like, I'm like, if you see it, like, go for it. And I told him I don't see anything high consequence if he tries this for 3 months and, I don't know, it doesn't go according to plan. Like, there's no high consequence for him doing that. I'm 39 years old, almost 40, and I'm starting to realize, like, I was young once, and one of the biggest problems with people that are old and wise is they forget what it's like to be young, and hopefully I never do. But it's really important not to squash the ambition of younger people with your wisdom of being old and life experience, because first of all, you have to remember there's a variable. The variable in this scenario is Will survives. He's a different person than I am. So what's going to work for him isn't necessarily what would work for me. And honestly, if he's got the ambition, if he sees the vision, that's really it. If you see the vision and you got the drive to do it, then do it. And I'm not going to stand in your way and say, oh, well, you know, you probably should make more YouTube videos or this or that, or nah. If you got the vision, bro, do it. So that's really it. I think there's a lot of people that have a lot of good information. They're older folks. They have a lot of good info to give younger generations, but they view the young people through the lens of an old person. And you know what? Ambition is something that the youth have that older people don't, for the most part. So you can't squash it. You have to remember that that's one of their biggest assets. If you see a young person that's ambitious, they could accomplish stuff that you never could at their age, you know? That's kind of how I look at it. So full steam ahead, Will. I think you're doing awesome. I think you're going to do awesome stuff. If nothing else, worst case scenario, he learns a bunch from this experience and grows as a person. That's the worst case scenario I see from all this. So Will's around, he's doing good. We hang out, we talk. What he does with videos and stuff for the next few months, so he's figuring all that out. But I'm not worried about him. I think he's in a great place mentally and getting ready to overcome more obstacles in his life. So that's where I'm at with it. That's my opinion. I think Will's doing good. Hopefully you guys quit bugging him about insulating his house and, you know, doing his videos in a different way. Like, he's busy leveling up, guys. Once he's leveled up, he'll let you guys know how it all went. So take it easy, guys. Thanks for watching.
With the beard and the vision, he narrates his life, cutting firewood, draining beasts away from city strife. The ducks, they roam freely, a quiet army true. Muscovies in the meadow, foraging in the dew. Lord, minions, small but